everyone. Welcome. Thank you
Hello.
for joining Unapologetically Badasses. This is Sierra Whitener, and we are here with my amazing, beautiful friend, Renee. She's here tonight
Hello.
with
Nick Hubble Fleming here. Hello there, girlfriends.
and we have a special guest with us, Christine Canales. We were just practicing her name. We're like, Christine Canales. And we just thought that was hot and spicy. So we hope you enjoy her as much as we do. As we kick off Unapologetically Badass, because we were all badass queens here on this call. I want Christine to walk us through and tell us about you, your story, and how you landed where you are. And don't be shy to hide anything. Like, don't be shy
No.
to reveal anything. Don't hide anything. Don't hold back, because you know what? As women, we've all been there.
Yeah.
So, Christine, take it away. Give us some details about yourself.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you both, Sarah and Renee, for having me. I feel super privileged to have this invitation. So I'm really excited to be on here. I don't know exactly where to begin other than, I have gone through a lot of things, and I've listened to a lot of your episodes, and I feel like there's so many things that I can relate to as a woman that, there's so many things that we go through, so many challenges, but I basically, just as a little summary of some of the things I'm going to talk about, I grew up as a child in a really pretty dysfunctional family, as many of us have. Growing up in the, late 70s, early 80s, it was some times back then, right? Additionally, my parents were both hippies and very young. My parents were babies, raising babies. They were 15 and 16 when they had me. So,
wow.
They really did the best that they could, as children trying to raise babies. And so we went through a lot, and I think because a lot of the things we went through, I was just so painfully shy and very timid growing up, and just feeling like I had to grow up pretty young. And so I kind of took the back seat for many years, just sitting in the back row of the classrooms, being too afraid to raise my hand, just very, very quiet, not a lot of friends. And so I wasn't sure what my future looked like, having that sort of a personality. And I don't know what happened, but in high school, something clicked around senior year. I don't know if it was something somebody said, somebody did, or if it was just my own realization, but I had missed out on a lot of things growing up. And it was because I was so shy and so afraid of what other people thought. And something happened, senior year, I just realized I was missing so much. And at some point I would never be able to go back and experience all these things. And so I had decided to break out of that shell and just decided, like, hey, why do I care? Everybody's human. Nobody should be better than me. I can do things that I want to do. And so I just sucked it up. And as scary as it was, I did some things that I never thought I belonged doing. And one of those was cheerleading and dancing. I used to love doing those things, but I was so shy, and I didn't think that it was my place to do those things. I didn't belong. And so I just sucked it up and did it by myself. I didn't have any other friends doing it. And that was just a turning point for me. I actually did not get the position when I first tried the first year. Going back, it actually was junior year. But I didn't, that actually made me stronger, and tried again the following year and ended up making it. And I really enjoyed it. And I feel like, I don't know what it was. I wish there was a magic.
Broke out.
Yeah.
Done. And now you're just like this community guru. I mean,
so
literally.
Weird. Yeah. When I tell people how shy I was and how quiet I was, most people are surprised. I am one of those. I hear a lot of us have this in common, where we're introverted extroverts, right?
Yeah.
Where there's only so much of that I can do, and it does make me tired.
Yep.
I do have to retreat. Yeah. I think most of us are, but some people don't like to admit it, and some are blessed with maybe not being that way.
A lot of people are surprised that I grew up very introverted. I was, yeah, I know. People get like, no, I'm like, hello. I'm like, I'm so out there. But no, I was pretty quiet. I was pretty shy. Dance, I was a majorette. I did that.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, I was definitely a lot quieter.
Yeah.
I didn't have any friends until probably sophomore year. I was
Wow.
so introverted. I was so teased and
Oh.
I was so scared to like meet anybody, do anything too. And I
Yeah.
mean, I get it, Christine. I
Wow.
get it on
I'm
such a big
surprised.
level.
But you know, I feel like the more, and especially us women, the more you talk to other women, you hear the same thing, and it's so surprising.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's refreshing. I remember getting bullied because of
Yeah.
these. I would
The
get,
beautiful,
Lips,
luscious lips that we want.
Oh my
and
gosh.
now, right? And now I'm like, oh yeah, suck it. I got
Right?
Yeah,
freaking lips and they're free, you know?
literally.
Yeah.
But back then, oh, it was torturous. I used to go home
Oh.
crying my eyes out. So I get it, like not having, you know, a lot of very close girlfriends and being the shy one and putting yourself out there to join dance or cheerleading, and that didn't it help? Because I know it helped me.
Yeah, I'm so glad I did that, because I do think that definitely helped develop my confidence, you know, and just realizing I didn't die, right? I didn't die. Nobody kicked me. Nobody punched me.
Yeah.
You know, I survived it, and actually it felt good, you know,
Yeah.
to get up there and have that attention. And yeah, so I'm very, very lucky that sort of just happened to me, and I was able to see it, and whatever message that was. So, you know, having said that, that was amazing and everything. But my, you know, trivials throughout my life didn't end there. I'd like to say from there I blossomed, you know, and life was amazing, but that's not reality. Life is amazing, but there were some bumps in the road. And, you know, I had a boyfriend in high school, and we were high school sweethearts, met actually working at an amusement park. I don't know if you either of you, if Sierra, if you've ever seen any hints as to what we did there when we met. You want to take a guess? It was Great America in Santa Clara. So it was a big, huge amusement park. We were cartoon characters.
How cute.
No.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I was Papa Smurf.
Oh, remember the Smurfs?
I was Papa Smurf. He was Quick Draw McGraw, which not everybody knows who
I
that
know
is.
who that is. Yep.
So he was a big horse.
Yep. Oh, that's funny.
And that's how we met. Went to different high schools, but we just fell head over heels with each other, and stayed together. He ended up joining the Marine Corps right out of high school because he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And we somewhat stayed together, had a long distance relationship, had a little break, but ended up, I just really wanted to get married and be with him. And, you know, he felt very strongly about that too. And so we ended up getting married 2 years after he had started in the Marine Corps. And then I just left with him, and we got stationed in lovely 29 Palms, which a lot of people don't know where that is, but that's Southern California. It's near Palm Springs, which sounds amazing, right? But it's this little tiny desert town, and it's literally just military. There's like nothing there.
Yep.
But that was my introduction to independence and being married. And so it was exciting and amazing. And, you know, I hadn't lived on my own prior to that. So I jumped right into marriage, living on our own. No real work out there other than retail. So I did work some retail jobs and whatnot. And then I got pregnant right away. And so I had intentions on finishing school and whatnot. But, you know, life happened and ended up with a beautiful baby. And so we lived out there for a couple years, and he didn't re-enlist, so we ended up back home. You know, that was really challenging. You know, I stopped school right away to be an adult and raise a family. And we did amazingly well, thank goodness, you know. But I really didn't have a career path because of that, right? And so what was pretty amazing, though, and I don't know what it was, but I always strive for more. I've always like, nothing's ever good enough. I'm always reaching for something more. So the 2 years that we lived out there, even though there weren't a lot of opportunities, I had actually gotten promoted a couple of times within the roles that I had, which was pretty unusual, but it created some really good experience for me to put on my resume. And, you know, it was sales and management and all those things. But that's when I first saw, like, you know, I just was never satisfied. I was always looking for more money, more opportunities, more responsibilities. So that was,
I think that's our introverted selves.
I don't know.
That's
of being
me.
told, like, you're not enough, or
Right.
maybe the teasing, and then when you break free and you're like, okay, I know who I am. I'm confident. I'm fierce. There's like a fire that just lights. And it's not that we're not ever content, but you're like, I know I can do more. I can do better, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing, because I've not really talked with anybody about that. So you guys have similar experiences yourselves?
I mean, how many businesses can I run at once? I'm like juggling all the balls. I'm like, you know, I want to do this. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do this. I want this. I want this. I want this level. And it's constantly achieving. And what Sierra said is so true, because a lot of people are like, why the hell are you doing so many things? I'm like, because I can.
Yeah, because there's, I know.
I can. Like, I feel like there's a purpose for this. There's more out there, and why not try it? You know, not everything's going to be successful, but why not give it a try?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny. So when we moved back home, it was like I had been doing retail. We moved back home. We're living with family. And so I'm looking for a job. And I found, I found a job at the newspaper, and was able to do some clerical part-time work, but again, wasn't satisfied. And my mother-in-law was a Mary Kay director, and I had not really had any experience with direct sales. And she was showing me her checks, and she was in the Hispanic community in San Jose, and she had this big old team driving the car and showing me her checks that were larger than mine, working in a good career. And I'm going to close this door because
okay.
That's totally fine, because you know what? This is reality. This is life. We all have to close
I knew it was going to happen.
Doors.
Yeah. You know, most of us, we're women, we're moms, we have kids, and a lot of us have the blessing to work from home. So with that comes dogs, kids, family members. We got it. It's all good. So go right ahead.
Thank you for understanding, because it totally is. It's real life, but it's a luxury, and I love it.
Yeah.
So she was like, you should join me. And I was a little hesitant because although I had started becoming more outgoing, I'd never done sales.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that I did that.
How old were you when you did that?
21.
Wow. Okay. That's young. I did Mary Kay too.
Did you really?
That was my first direct sales.
Really?
That was my
I did Amway while y'all were doing Mary Kay and dabbling in makeup. I couldn't be in makeup because I was in the military, but my Mary Kay girl would come to our office and pop open her trunk, and all of us leave the office and go to the car and dig through everything. I did Amway because I was like, oh, I can get my laundry detergent, my soap, because I'm broke and I don't care. I need money. So let's figure out some ways to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And those things, and it was part of the community. That's when I learned, like, you know, it's not just the money, it's not just the product, you know, it's like you're part of this community, you know, where you're helping each other, you're learning. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize, because I thank God that I did that, because if it wasn't for that choice that I made to do that, I would not be where I am today, doing what I'm doing today and having all of the experiences career-wise, right? Yeah. Career-wise, if I did not do that, because I learned so much from that little beginning, and learned that I love that community. The education, when you do direct sales, like, people don't realize the development that you get. It's like free college. Like, you're learning all the things, sales, marketing.
Kind of like they throw you to the wolves, and it's like you need to figure it out and be as creative as possible. But what you're learning as you're out there surviving are skills that carry into your life every single day, and holds dear, and people don't realize that. Yeah,
no, they don't realize the gift that it can be, and it's not just the money, you know. It's that is like the little piece of it. So yeah, so I enjoyed it. I didn't focus as much as I should have or wanted to because I did have all the other things going on, the full-time job, the baby and all that. But I loved it. And, from there, I used to invite people over do all their parties at my house because I used to love it. They do I don't know, name dropping, but the Pampered Chef, the Crystal, what was that Crystal company with the little Princess House, there, all the things would come to my house. We would have all of the parties, and I just loved that stuff, and I loved the friends and all that. And so, because I had that experience, I was able to actually get in with a big company and work at a corporate role. And actually 3. I had 3 direct sales corporate positions, which I would never have been able to do. And I just loved it and enjoyed it so much. And because of all that, and because of how hard it is to do those things, I'm able to do what I do now, which is real estate, because it gave me that foundation, the sales, the marketing, the HR, going into people's homes and their, private spaces and being comfortable and also respectful at the same time. It really helped develop that foundation. But, going back to the trials, because we got to get into that stuff, because even I was thinking about the things I wanted to talk about today, and there's a lot of things I haven't really talked about in a while. And one of those is, fast forward after, I had 3 kids, 3 kids by the age of 27. Come 30, when the kids started, getting a little older and walking around doing their things, my husband and I went through some major issues with each other. And, by then we had already been married a good 10, 12 years. And this was around 2008, 2009. Most of us know what happened around then. A lot of layoffs, money issues, and things like that. And, we did buy a house way out in, it's a place called Los Baños, and it was way out in the valley that was distant from everything. And I started becoming I think I was growing up, becoming more mature, more confident. And I had been more submissive as a younger woman. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really hard for my husband to get comfortable with and just understand what was going on. Maybe, it came off in a way where it was combative or argumentative or something like that. And also we had been together since we were, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
So we decided to separate. And in fact, we were actually going to court for divorce proceedings and hired lawyers, and it got really messy. It was not an amicable separation. And it was very tough. We had both gotten laid off from our jobs. And so I had to move back in with family. We're arguing over where the kids should be staying, where their schools should be, and going to court for those things. So I went through a heck of a hard time. I mean, I remember a point in time where, I wanted my own place. I didn't really like living with family. And so I, got my own apartment, could barely afford it. And I remember moments of not being able to afford food. Like I would go to pick up my kids, when I would have them, and go to the Dollar Tree to get the cheapest food I could find to give them snacks when we were together. Yeah. Isn't that terrible?
I know all of us have been there. I mean, we've all, I have stories of having to tell my now husband, I've dug in dumpsters before to get food, I've dug through the car to try to get like $1 so I can afford like a Whopper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reality for a lot of people. And unfortunately, it is still a reality for a lot of people right now. I mean, it's what you do with it, right?
Exactly.
And you knew you didn't want to stay there. You're like, absolutely. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really, really tough. I mean, ups and downs, just like a lot of us go through. And fortunately, I had family that wanted to help and wanted to be there. But I really wanted to be independent, and I didn't want to have to ask, anything from anybody. And I ended up working really hard and being able to find a good job back at the newspaper where I had originally worked many years ago. And because I had sales experience, I was able to work in the advertising department and make fairly good money, assisting them with the the ads and whatnot. So I did work my way up on my own to be able to live, okay, and not have to do the things that I had to do for a little while. But boy, was it challenging for quite some time. And we're very fortunate in that having a break, I think, is just what we needed. Because after, the 2 years, we ended up sitting next to each other at our son's football games and laughing at each other's jokes and things. And so we ended up, just back, enjoying each other's company. And I think we just needed a little break, and we both dated while we were separated. Yeah. So I think the other thing is that we needed to see that not everybody, you're not going to find somebody that's perfect.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And it sure is slim pickings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what age you were. What age were you when you were dating?
Around 30, 31.
Well, yeah, it's just like a whole different thing. But I mean, that's good. It sounded like you guys always did love each other. It's just that as you were growing up and becoming who you needed to be on the inside, he was feeling probably insecure himself about it and trying to grow up as well. And that just, and that's the thing whenever you meet somebody so young. But I'm so glad that we actually have somebody on our show, Renee, that actually has like a happy ending.
Another one who, because we're divorced, right? Sarah and I both went through that. So it's nice to hear that, it can work. And that's wonderful, because nobody goes into a marriage wanting a divorce, But as you're together for so long, you do become different people. You have the same values, but you do grow. And especially, kids get married. We're kids. We were kids, right? No matter how old we were babies. Now that we look at it, we can reflect back, and I'm like, I was a baby, even though I wasn't. But, you grow into the person you're meant to be. You're not grown into the person you're meant to be in your 20s or 30s.
Right. No, you don't realize that you think you are.
You think you are. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, it's not all like roses all the time. We definitely have our moments still here and there, but that's reality.
That's reality. Yep. If you're going to be in a relationship, it's never going to be roses 24/7.
Yeah, you got to be around each other all the time. You're not going to agree on everything. In fact, if you did, it'd be boring. That's the way I look at it.
You don't want to live with yourself. If you wanted to live with yourself, you would be single. So you want to have somebody who challenges you, who inspires you, or who gives you pushback and says, what are you thinking? Right. Or encourages you in a different way that you encourage yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good partner. At the end of the day, when you can lay in bed together and know that you are friends, you're like, okay, I can tell you stink. I can tell you I love you. Right. That is your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
And then, so how did you transition? What made you dive into real estate?
So, honestly, it only happened about a little over 2 years ago. And I had thought about it early, about 6 years ago, I had thought about it. In fact, I went and took the test and failed twice. And then
a lot of people do. I heard
it's not as easy. Honestly, there's some people I knew that got their license, and I thought if they could do it, and not to be mean, but I'm like, if they could do it, it should be easy. Boy, was I wrong. It's actually a little tougher. You actually have to study, and you have to. The test is hard. So the reason is because, so we do kind of currently live in an area where to make good money and where the work is, you do have to drive an hour and a half. And so I was fortunate enough over the years where I have had somewhat flexible positions. But at one point, I got myself into a position where I was driving every single day, working long hours, making amazing money, but just was not happy because it was super stressful and I was never home. And so I thought of real estate because I thought, it's flexible somewhat, and I can choose where I work, and I can use the experience. I've known some agents and kind of had an idea of what they did. And I thought my experience is perfect for that. And I'm one that loves sales. I don't always love what I have to do for it, but I love the fact that, because I'm a hard worker like you guys are, I determine my, what I get out of it, right? So in sales, that's it. If you're a hard worker, you get rewarded. And that's how real estate is. And the fact that you can be creative. Also, I joined a team. So I ultimately ended up being super inspired when I finally did it, finally passed the test. There was somebody that I knew from a networking group in this area that owned a brokerage. And initially I was afraid to do real estate because it's so saturated. There are agents everywhere. Everyone knows real estate agents, right? And so I thought, how am I going to come in new to the saturated area that I thought and be successful when there's already so many? Well, he has this amazing program, amazing training program and lead flow. They said they had more leads than they knew what to do with it. And they were looking to grow. And so I was like, what? Like, we need help. We need help answering the phones. Like, we don't have enough people. And I was also excited about them because they were a lot like the direct sales culture in that they would do a lot of rewarding incentives. They would have a lot of get-togethers and celebrations, and in direct sales, it's all about that. And so I'm like, that is me. I love that. I want to be part of that. And also, if you need help, I'm your girl. I'm a hard worker. I can do this. And so at the time, I was with a direct sales company, but it was a new company, and we were having some struggles. And the economy and whatnot wasn't really accepting of this new company. And so I kind of just decided I should probably make a move before I'm forced to, go out with a bang when I'm still feeling successful, and just go out at the right time. And so I just did it. I just jumped in, took the test, passed, quit the job, focused 100% on this new career. Wow. Granted, I'm lucky I could do that, partly because my husband has a business that does help support us. And so realistically, most people, that's not something that most people will do because they're not sure when you jump into something like this, what your income's going to be like.
Yeah.
But I do help him as well. So he has a construction business, and I do help him with some of the back end accounting and whatnot. I just jumped in, and I just love it because it's, like I said, right up my alley, and I'm able to work with people and be in their homes. But because I was involved in trying to network myself prior to doing real estate with the company I worked with, I was really trying to meet people and be part of the community. I started joining all the things. So when I quit my job where I was driving over the hill to do something locally, I didn't know anyone. I didn't really have any friends out here. My kids are older now, so I don't have sports and all that stuff where you normally
right.
I don't even know my neighbors. Sorry. I said sorry. I'm not supposed to apologize. I'm not apologetic.
You're unapologetic. You know what?
Say sorry on these calls.
It's a dog. Okay.
So, I decided to just put myself out there, and I was invited to join some different things. And so selfishly, right, I'm joining these things because I need to get to know other people, market what I'm doing. That's the core reason. But during that process, I joined the Rotary, which is a community service club. It's a giant club. And we have 100. I'm gonna let this guy out. Hang on 1 second.
So while she is letting her dog out, I have to ask her whenever she comes back, is if somebody is listening right now and maybe they have a business or they don't have a business, but they don't have a community. Maybe they just found themselves recently single. It's so scary to join something like that, Christine. So walk us through the steps that you took in order to get involved, and then you can take us from there.
Yeah, no, that's a great question because that's how I felt in the beginning.
How
did I find, because you know what, ultimately I didn't know about a lot of these organizations. A lot of them, it's like the marketing is off, and because of the money, it's thin and whatever. So what I did, especially if you've got there's different ways. So at the time I had a small business that I was working with that I was trying to market. And what I did was I looked for pop-ups, which a lot of communities have, like the farmers market or little like holiday pop-ups and things like that. And so I used to, number one, either go walk around and talk to all the vendors without having my own booth. Or number two, have my own booth. And while I have my booth, get up and walk around and talk to all the vendors. That was how I started. It's like, I would just go and talk to people and like, hi, you know, introduce myself. And so when I did that, I connected with this one lady. She sold a cosmetic and skincare product. And I told her, yeah, so, you know, we're getting to know each other, and told her I just started this out and I'm trying to meet people, and, you know, and I don't know a lot of people out here. And so she invited me to a group because I talked to her. Yeah. And she heard I had a need. She decided to invite me to this group that she was a part of that I had never heard of before. And it was a local networking group, but they, you know, it's a small group. And from that, I met other people that do other things. And so each club or each organization that I would be a part of or join or go to and visit, I would just talk to people. And throughout those relationships, obviously I didn't start right away saying, this is what I need, can you help me? Yeah. It really took some time. And the stem of it is really just getting to know people, being sincere and authentic, and really being open to meeting new friends and what people have to offer, and saying yes. Saying yes is key, which can be very, very hard for a lot of people. But just like you said, it's hard to go in and walk into the group being new, not knowing anybody. Yeah. But that is the key. Is saying yes, putting on your calendar, sticking with it, and going.
No matter how uncomfortable it feels. Yes. Especially for those of us who are introverts, because you know, they're still, even though I'm out there, that's daunting when you know nobody and you're going into a networking group. And especially, like, there's a lot of networking groups, people know each other already, so they're in there, you know,
like, I don't know anybody.
Exactly. And they're in their clique, like they're talking and stuff, so it's not comfortable to go in and like, hi, I'm Renee, hello, you know.
But it's hard. I had a hard time with it too. People don't think I did, because maybe I looked like I was.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta hold it together, and you're like, hi, and you present yourself as all confident, but then you're just sitting there like, why did I come? Do I really have to come back again? Yes, you do.
You know what? Isn't it like almost, I talk to my clients and my team, and I kind of train them about almost being an actor. Yes. Like there's a personality, right, that you're portraying. Right. So when you unlock that personality, that outer shell, that more extroverted person, that's who you're playing in that role. The more you practice that role, the more you become that person.
That's so true.
Right?
That's true. It's true. Yeah. And it's kind of
like you're somebody different, but you have to walk into the room with that acting persona on until you have enough confidence to just keep showing up and then find your place there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of how I grew into and developed the Badass Queen brand. Okay. Because I didn't feel that, but I wanted to. Like, that was the goal. I wanted to be bold and unapologetic, and I'm fucking out there. I'm badass. And then once I was like, this is who I want to be, I want more women to feel that way. Screw this, like sitting in the corner, unsure, listening to the person, the man telling you what you can be, can't do. I'm like, fuck that. I want women to feel this strength. So
exactly. Yeah, that's, I mean, I can totally, I know what you're saying, because I feel the same way. And you're right. There are times when I go and I don't feel naturally like I want to be like, hi, you know, how are you? But you know what I've learned is asking questions. Like, think of things that you can ask people, get them talking, because that's what people like. They like to hear themselves talk, right?
Ding, ding, ding. You don't go into one of those events. Yeah, you don't go in those events talking about yourself. When you take that away and go, yeah, I am like releasing the expectation of getting anything out of this except for meeting some new people. And when you start talking to them and asking them about them, you're right. People love talking about themselves. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're in love with you because they're like, oh my God, this was an amazing conversation.
And you're like, I didn't say a damn word, but
you're like, thank you.
But I feel like it does turn into that, right? Like you maybe you started out and then they'll start asking you questions. Most people will.
Yeah.
But I find that most of the time, if I can get past that uncomfortableness of like getting dressed, pulling up, walking in, getting settled, once you're there, when you leave, you're like, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like you feel good. Like you made a couple friends, you know what it's like. You did it. You didn't die.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody kicked you out.
Right. Okay. So fast forward, Christine. Okay. So now, you're going to these meetings, you're integrating yourself. What has transpired from you just number one, showing up? What are some things that you're really, really proud of that has transpired?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. So I mentioned earlier Rotary, which is a volunteer group. And after being a part of that for a little while, I was approached. I was volunteering for different things. And I don't know, there was something I showed that made them feel like I would be good on their board. And so the Rotary Club out here asked me if I would be part of their leadership. And so I have joined the leadership, which has been amazing. And I can't go into details on all the things that I would do. It would take the whole meeting. But the fact that I do that means that I'm in front of the meetings once in a while, at least once a month, and which is scary. But I will say it's another piece of building that confidence and being comfortable with speaking in front of people. Is when I was approached, I knew that would have been part of it. And I thought, I don't really want to do that because then I got to get up in front of, I got to prepare. And I'm like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. And I'm so glad I did because I love it. I love the fact that I'm helping and that I'm developing my confidence in being in front of people. And I've become somebody that is looked up to. I mean, we have new people coming in. They're like, how do I do what you're doing? It looks like so much fun. And, I want to help, and it's awesome. And so that's one thing. Another thing is one of the clubs that I was invited to was called Polka Dot Powerhouse. And it's a women's group.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that introduced me to one. We didn't have a chapter here locally. So she drove with me. We went, and it's an hour away. It's like, just come to this group with me. And so I went with her, and I just couldn't believe the purpose of this group. It's a women's group. And I went there, we had lunch, but I met all of these ladies that were just looking for friendships primarily. It was really like a group of women that wanted a community of other women that would help lift them up, support them, offer advice, be someone they could hang out with for coffee. No pressure. You didn't have to have a job. You didn't have to have kids. You didn't have to be young, old, any of the things. And it was really.
We have so much in common. I did that one too.
Yeah. Did you really?
I did in another state. Polka Dot. Yeah, I did that.
So my friend wanted me. She's like, see, this is great, right? You should start a chapter over here where we live. We live in Brentwood. And I'm like, no. I'm already doing this, that, and the other. So I kind of refused. I'm like, that would be nice if somebody did it, but I'm not going to be the one. I just have too much on my plate.
Yeah.
And I had noticed at one point that I was like volunteering for a lot. So I had to like put a lid on it a little bit.
You have to know when to say no.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then also you grow into confidence of being able to say no, even but then you also are open to saying yes for the right opportunities.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Maybe if it means letting go of something else.
Exactly. Well, that friend ended up opening up a chapter here a year ago. And so we now have our own chapter, and we actually have 55 members, and it's only been around for a year. And I enjoyed it so much. There were 9 of us that there was a yearly celebration event. We went to Idaho and traveled together and roomed together, had an amazing time. But we're finding, and even though I didn't launch it, I was asked to help and be on their board. So I am on that board too. So I help with the social media and photography, which works well because I can do that, on my own time, and it's fun. And we have had people that have found us through social media. We have 2 ladies specifically that recently joined us that are at a point in their life, one of which is a widow. Her husband recently passed away within the last year. And she really just didn't have any friends, and didn't have, she's retired, didn't have a whole, like, families all moved away, just felt like she didn't have anybody, and didn't even have a community to sort of wrap their arms around her. And so she sought us out and invited herself and came to one of our meetings. And it's moments like that. Yeah, it's moments like that where she comes in, we're just like wrapping our, there's nothing, you don't need to be there for any other reason than to be part of the community, be loved, and do the things that you want to do with us. Yeah. And so I am so thankful that I have met these people that have introduced me to these amazing opportunities. And it's all because I said yes, I put myself out there, I did the thing that I didn't want to do. I put my big girl panties on.
Yeah, I love it.
Strap it out there in the cold and just go do it. And in the end, like, I am just, I don't know. I'm looking back, like, and business, because of all these things that I do, because it's all sincerely done. I go to these things now because I truly enjoy it. I truly have fun, and I like helping. People are coming to me for my business. And it's not because I'm like, hey, I'm Christine, I'm a realtor, here's my card,
It's organic.
Yeah.
It's organic.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's about being authentic and organic, and it comes back.
It does. But you have
Go ahead, Renee. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you do a lot with the community and with, volunteering and networking. How do you balance it? How do you balance having this professional, successful career and earning this amazing income and doing all of those things?
Yeah. Yeah. No, great question. It's not easy. I have had to learn sometimes to say no, I don't go to every single meeting. So I try to just have balance. I plan out ahead. I look at the calendar, look at the meetings that are coming up, and there are some that are near and dear to my heart, and some that maybe I don't need to go to. And so it's really just not saying yes to every single thing. I have been asked if I'd like to join some other clubs, and I'm limiting, like, I'm at my capacity. So I'm not joining anything else new. Maybe the next season of my life when I am not so busy, but right now it's doing the things that I'm the most passionate about, that I can be the most help with, and saying no to some of the other things. And same thing with work. You have to have, although real estate, like, we're known for being available 24/7, 7 days a week, I'll limit that. I won't answer my phone unless it's something urgent. I won't answer my phone before 9 a.m. in the morning. I'll monitor it. Thank goodness for texting now. I usually tell people, if I don't answer, text me. So it's also just, I don't answer every single call every time my phone rings. And
you can't.
If somebody's expecting that of me, then I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's so funny is the whole phone thing, though. I don't know. Do you girls get into? I don't answer it's funny. I have my businesses. Yeah. I know customers are going to reach out, clients are going to reach out, but if I don't have their number in my phone, I don't answer it.
I don't either. No, it drives me crazy. I'm like, okay, if it's important, they're going to leave me a message, or they're going to text me saying, hey, this is who it is. And then I'll call you back once I know who you are.
Yeah. But between that and somebody coming to you, to me, those two things are related. When somebody, random person comes to your door, I'm like, stranger danger. No, hurry up.
It's true. I think
right.
You're like, who is that?
Yes. And the times that I have answered, I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
Oh, I'm so afraid to answer the damn door. The poor thing, he's like, Amazon. I'm like, I should have known better, because you hear her.
Yeah, no, there have been times when I've answered the door and the phone, and I regret it, because I'm like, oh, why did I do that? That's like Renee's frozen.
I was thinking before, whenever you said something, about saying yes and saying no. And I just kept thinking that, you know, we've all three of us have been in a place where we didn't have friends.
Right.
We didn't have a community. We found ourselves raising babies as babies.
Mhm.
And I just wish that I would have had the confidence to go join things and build a woman community earlier. My woman community is all online. I don't have a live one. And
Mhm.
hearing you speak, I'm like, I don't have a physical one that I really, really want and need. And it's just like you're giving me the confidence to be like, hey, go build a real one, because I can name a female friend. In fact, I have a friend coming. She's my TikTok bestie, and we're going to meet for the first time tomorrow. Renee and I have not met in person. Christine, you and I have, because we worked in the same location. But, you know, a lot of these are internet besties.
Yeah. No, you need somebody you can go grab a drink with.
Yeah.
You need that female community. So I really want to encourage you know, listeners maybe who have just lost their husband or are going through a divorce, or now an empty nester, and their husband still works and they do not anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay. Go volunteer at church, go to a Rotary, find a group, you know. And do you have any suggestions on how they can find these groups? Because I think that might be something people are like, well, where, how?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, depending on where, Nextdoor, a lot of times we'll have, so there's a social media site for neighbors, right, called Nextdoor. Mm-hmm. Some areas are really big on that. Facebook, a lot of communities are creating community groups on Facebook. I know some of our ladies in our area have groups that they're part of, and they share our get-togethers. And not all of them are specific to the networking group. Sometimes they're doing like game night, and, you know, we had like an elephant gift exchange with the ornaments, and some of them are just unrelated to these groups. They're just like, hey, if anybody wants to come. So social media is really a good place to find these things. The newspaper sometimes online, like they'll sometimes feature local groups and things like that. Anyone is welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to see if I can help find something, because, you know, obviously I've been able to find
them.
A lot of things out here in my area, and so I've got really good ideas. But you know, ultimately, I think getting out there, and when you see something, is just trying to go and get out there. During the holidays, there's usually a lot of different ways to meet people and join events. I know out here, one of the things that our community does, and I think it's specific to this area, but we have this group called How. And this might be an inspiration for somebody to start something like this in different areas, but it's called Helping One Woman. And we now have 2 groups that are doing it out here. And literally once a month, I think it is, they nominate a woman in need. And usually it's something pretty tragic that they're going through, like cancer, or, you know, like the husband suddenly passed away, or, you know, special needs children, like somebody that's really going through something that maybe needs some financial assistance. And so they do a fundraiser that where they do a dinner. So they have like a local chef or caterer that caters it, and they have like an agreed amount discounted, you know, and all the money, I want to say $5 per meal or something like that, goes towards this purpose. And on top of that, they receive millions of like raffle donations. Everybody loves donating raffle gifts, right? And so they do raffle gifts and all these things. And I swear to you, they raise a good, I want to say 10,000 was like the minimum one that I had.
Wow.
They usually get a good turnout, and the guest of honor is usually always there, and they get up and do a little talk. But it's like this tradition that we've started. So every month, it's same day of the month. It's usually like the second Thursday or something. And we do it at the community center. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah.
But that is also another place that I've gone to that I've met other women, you know, that just care. It's like-minded, right? It's where do you go to meet like-minded
women.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know,
I love that. I love anything that has to do with giving back.
yeah.
That's how I use my businesses. I know Sierra too. Like we use our businesses also as a means to give back and do fundraisers and stuff. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be a tax write-off usually too. So there's a little, business perk to it.
But it feels good.
Oh gosh,
Especially when it's something your core is like passionate about.
Yeah.
I mean, you just
and I will say having kids and different things. So my kids see this, right? And I've actually had them come with me. We've done different things where I've dragged them along, gift wrapping, planting trees, community cleanup. Like if you have kids or people around you that are watching you and you're able to sort of set an example, these things are so amazing to spread.
Absolutely.
Parts of goodness just can spread so easily if you share it with other people. Yeah. So
I love it. I love it.
You are such an inspiration.
I know.
I mean, from that girl that just tried out twice for a cheerleading team, who never thought she'd break out of her bubble, being raised by teenagers, and then just emerging, like totally just falling into, and I say falling into, a passion of yours, and which you never would have thought, but it was just something that, like you said, you thought you wanted it for you.
It was for
and
me.
it turned into so much more.
And so being so young, I didn't know, I was going to say this earlier, but I did not know what I like to do. I didn't know who Christine was, if I got to choose a hobby, what that would look like, and so I feel like this is it. I mean, I love doing this stuff, and I didn't even realize that was going to be it. And so it's like I'm also finding myself throughout the experience. And I mean, thank God it's something I really enjoy. And because if I didn't try it, I wouldn't have known.
Talk about being unapologetically badass. I mean, that right there, right?
Yeah, it's so much fun. But looking back, I'm just really grateful for the challenges that I've been through, because I feel like they pushed me, to do these things. And, I would just say to anybody else out there who is feeling like uncertain or what to do, just face the fears. Just, what do they say? Just do it. Just do it. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Just do it messy.
There is no right time for anything. I tell people that whenever they say, we're not ready to have kids. Okay. Do you want them? Then, whenever you've got those things lined up, just dive in, because you're never going to be ready for one of them.
You're never going to be ready for anything that happens in your life. It's
not.
And you see all these things, like, a lot of people, I was so glad I got this opportunity, because although I don't feel like I set myself out there as looking perfect and everything on social media, you don't see everything. And so it's so refreshing to be able to get on here and just be like, bleh. And for, me to be like, look, no, all of this didn't just land in my lap. Like, I've freaking had to work really hard, and I have been at the bottom of the barrel, like, and this is, and if I can do all this, anybody can,
This is totally why, like, this podcast was born. Like, I really wanted to give a platform for women who are unapologetically badass to share their stories. And Sierra and I talked about it. We were like, this is perfect, whether somebody's in business or they're just or they went through life. And we all have a story to share, and you never know what's going to inspire somebody else to go into action. That might have been a ding, because somebody was like, listening in.
I hope so. That's all that we want. We just want one person to listen in and just say, I want more. I need more. This changed me. I'm now going to go find a group like this Christine person did, because she gave me the confidence that it wasn't easy. It was hard, but she said yes.
Yeah. Also, Sarah, I was going to tell you one more thing about the group thing and in person. There is this lady, and her name is Janice. So I hope she hears this, but she gives the best hugs. And when I am going through something, when I see her, her hug just feels so good. She is the sweetest person. And there's something about that. When you have women and people around you that you can physically hug,
yes,
it is so much.
You just gave me the goosebumps. That
you
is so
you need your Janice, Sierra. You need to find your
it's so true, because when I was going through my hysterectomy, my friend Amanda came over and she just laid in the bed with me and hugged me.
You see?
And it's like, I needed it. And my husband did it all the time, but it's just like, I needed that girlfriend there for that moment. So I get it.
Yeah.
Christine, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being on our show. We appreciate you. And if there is anything we can do to support or donate or anything like that to any of your organizations, we are here.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. Time flew. Yeah. I really appreciate this. And I'm ready to go now. I feel so inspired. So thank you.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as of this recording, we are pre-Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family.
Thank you. You both too. Thank you so much.
And everyone, stay tuned for the next episode of Unapologetically Badass podcast. And be sure to like the episodes, follow us, share us, and give us all the love that you can. We would truly appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day. Bye, all. Love you.
Bye.
All right, Queens, that's a wrap for today's episode. But before you hit pause, let's talk about you and how we can help you slay every part of your life. If you're ready to feel fabulous and look like $1,000,000, I've got you covered with my badass queen coaching, sparkling touchstone crystal jewelry, and Bella Grace collagen, because glowing skin and a sparkly vibe, that's a power move. Check it all out at reneecarbonefleming.com. And my co-host Sierra, oh yeah, she's bringing the heat too. Not only is she rocking Bella Grace collagen for her glow game, but she's also the queen of chic with her fabulous clothing boutique. From boosting your wellness to leveling up your wardrobe, Sierra's got the magic to help you shine inside and out. Check her out at Linktree/Sierra Whitener 7. So here's the deal. Head to our websites, grab the goods that'll help you live your best life, and let's make everything about you unapologetically badass. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with your fellow queens, because the more sparkle in the world, the better. Until next time, keep glowing, keep slaying, and remember, you're a badass queen who deserves it all.